Hello, Ray Phoenix here, and this is a Star Wars Pinball machine. This game is based on all three of the Star Wars movies in the original Star Wars trilogy. It really captures the spirit of the trilogy, making you do all kinds of missions that all pertain to the Star Wars trilogy. You can play as any of the Star Wars characters. Well, the only four that are listed at the bottom, I think. And you can hit the different targets, and different things happen. Star Wars-related events happen. You get a score, of course, too, because what would pinball be without a score? Pinball is one of those few games that survives the decline of arcade games. Like, a lot of people don't really make classic arcade games anymore, because they know that arcades aren't really a profitable business anymore. But pinball is something that's actually survived that very much, because pinball is something you can't really emulate at home. It's pinball. It's real life, essentially. You're using flippers to move a real-life ball around. You're hitting real targets, and you get real points pretty much. You're hitting the real targets. It's a very unpredictable game as well, too. Most of it's mostly based on luck, pretty much, and hitting it at the right time. You have a lucky shot, and you hit the ball at the right time, at the right speed, pretty much, and the right altitude and everything. And there's a lot of there's a lot of dynamics involved with it. It's way too much for me to possibly comprehend. So I just play the game and randomly hit stuff, and just wish for the lucky shot. I think that's what all the best pinball players do, right? They just hope for the lucky shot, hit for the best, pretty much. Pinball's been around since, well, way before video games have been around. And before there were video games, there was pinball. That's what all arcades would just be simply pinball, which is actually, a very simplistic video game overall, because it's just a ball that hits stuff and you get points. More can you ask for in a game. I'm not really big on very much modern games, because they're very complex and things like that, but this game actually isn't that complex at all. Sure, in this game you do get, missions and objectives and things you have to hit, but considering how unpredictable it is, I don't really care much for that. I just care about getting a score, really, just hitting the targets and getting a score and hope for the best, pretty much, which is pretty much all pinball really is, really. But it is a very fun experience, too. There is some skill involved. You have to hit the balls at certain times, and you have to watch the ball, too, that violently spins around and hits stuff. And there's also other things you can play in this game, too. Like right now, the Millennium Falcon, you have to guide the Millennium Falcon around for the asteroid field right now, and you get scored for it. Use the flipper buttons to guide it around and stuff like that. Yeah, this is a really entertaining and unique experience for a pinball game. This is an ideal pinball game. This is. I wish there were more games like this now. I wish pinball machines could be everywhere now, but they're not, mostly because arcades are in decline and things like that. Which like the arcade games suffered, so now pinball has suffered too. Pretty much, you don't really see those around as much anymore. You can fight Darth Vader in this game too, and so again, it's like lucky shot, and you might score against Darth Vader pretty much and win kind of things. Because again, this game mostly is about score, pretty much, like what any pinball game should be about. Pinball is something can never really be emulated at home. Sure, they have made pinball video games or video game systems before, but they never really compared to the real thing, pretty much. Like, they made the pro pinball games in the PS1, and they tried to capture the pinball experience of the PS1, but it didn't work out all that well. Mostly because pinball's just, something that can't really be emulated at home. Sure, it had really good graphics for a PS1 game, but that's just about it. And there's games that don't even try to emulate the experience at all. Kind of like Flipnick Ultimate Pinball for the PS2. It's pretty much just a fantasy pinball game, or it's not even real pinball at all. It's just merely fantasy, pretty much, which is good if you like fantasy pinball. But if you're looking for a real, genuine pinball experience, you wouldn't want to look there. This is what you would do if you want a real, genuine pinball experience. You'd play the actual pinball game, or maybe just wait several years where they invent augmented reality or virtual reality or something like that, where they could actually play pinball games in a very realistic, a simulated but very realistic setting. That's all we could do really for now with pinball. But of course, nothing compares to playing the real thing, as I keep saying. The real thing is by far the best way to play the real pinball. And this game really does have, a lot of it. This game really is full of itself. There's the Death Star, there's the Millennium Falcon, there's asteroids, there's different objectives, and you can hit different targets. You can unlock the powers of the Force, pretty much. You get Jedi training. You can learn the ways of the Force, pretty much, and you get bonuses. This game has everything you want in a Star Wars game. It really does reflect on the spirit of Star Wars, which makes this an ideal Star Wars game. I'm sure there's more than one Star Wars pinball game. There's probably been a lot of them over the years, but this one, it definitely is a win. The Force is indeed strong with this game, and when you lose, it shows a Death Star destroying Alderaan finally. See how every game ends with you losing and it shows your score on the screen. This is Ray Phoenix signing out.